Okay. Okay, there we go. All right. So my name is Taran Singh, and today we'll be talking about the substance abuse amongst sports and especially athletes that are participating in different sports. So the main question is, what is substance abuse? It's usually the people who participate in sports and are given performance enhancing drugs so that they could win. These are usually drugs that usually persuade a lot of athletes and give them the opportunity to win, or they give them the they make the athletes believe that they could use this as an advantage amongst the opposition of teams and win a certain game. And most athletes think consuming drugs will either make them guaranteed for a win or have a low chance of getting caught. So there was a study done in the textbook by Connor and Mezanov 2000 showed that 90% of athletes would prioritize performance outcome drugs over health concerns. This is really crazy to think about because they rather win a specific game than think of the long term of the health and see the effects that those drugs will wear on their body. I also read a part where they also asked an average person, not an athlete, whether they would take performance drugs to either win or they rather choose their health instead of the drug to win. The normal, the controls people who were the normal people said they only 1% of the people said yes, they will take the drugs, and the other 99% of the people said no, they aren't gonna take the drugs, that they rather choose their health over winning a game or getting their career. So the main types of drugs that are used by many athletes, first of all, alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, narcotics, and Viagra. I also listed the side effects that are associated with the drugs. So for alcohol, there's a lot of mood swings, there's false confidences, slow reaction times. I want to talk about the false confidence because it could give you it could give you an illusion where like you think you are confident in that specific time, but it gives you this confidence where it's not the right like you usually act inappropriately. So this could affect the way you either talking to your coach or talking to a team member about not fully focused about the sport and the way to win the game. So marijuana is the second one. It gives you drowsiness, distorted vision, decreased alertness. Talking about distorted vision, this obviously if you were to play football or play soccer, if you have a distorted vision, you won't be able to either catch a ball, throw a ball, or even kick a ball to the right direction. Cocaine, this includes a lot of addiction. It includes dizziness, anxiety, violent mood swings. I want to talk about the addiction and the anxiety because if you were super addicted to cocaine, um, sorry, you would if you weren't having if you weren't getting the right amount of dosage for cocaine, you'll really feel a lot anxious about yourself, and usually about you have a lot of anxiety for the people that are around you. So obviously this will affect the way you play your specific sport. Narcotics, these are usually like the painkillers. They usually have the heavy, you usually feel the heaviness of your limbs, like your entire body weight. You usually feel it a lot. Suppression of hunger. You won't feel hungry. This obviously affects your diet and everything, especially with the heaviness of limbs. If you're catching a ball from a football, you won't really be able to catch a ball, even throw a ball, because your entire arms are feeling really heavy and really you don't really feel good about it. Viagra increased the risk of liver disease and loss of coordination. Okay, so the biggest question is also, why do these athletes take these substance abuses other than winning the game? So I'm going to list out three different problems an athlete could face. First one being physical problems. So many athletes go through many problems, hence why they choose to take substances that they think that will improve the quality of life or make them feel much better for the team that they're playing for. Many athletes want to look good physically and want to show their control their weight. So this is what the physical problem is, especially with steroids. So they usually take steroids for to look good, build a big ball, big nice chest, build big nice muscles to show that yes, they're fit, they fit in the specific sport criteria. Like for example, a football player would have bigger upper body strength so that they could tackle, they could run, they could catch balls, throw balls. So they want to fit into a specific criteria. They care more about being attractive and having a body that looks stronger and built than caring about being able to perform better. So as I was saying, they care about how they look more than what they actually can do on the field. Okay, so the second problems a athlete could face is the psychological problems. So this is with the mental health. Athletes start to depend on drugs as a way to escape from unpleasant emotions. So like anxiety or like stress within the team, and are not able to feel the pressure of like the either winning or either like a squash. For college people, a scholarship is a huge amount of pressure and a stress on yourself because you have to maintain the grades while performing good for the sport, for the team. So this ends up becoming an addiction and starts affecting their performance levels and goals where their skills aren't improving. And the side effects of the drugs are consuming the ability to play the sport. So yeah, they get to a point where their performance relies directly to the drug. Without the drug, they aren't able to perform. And this obviously sorry, this obviously creates a huge impact for the people that are trying to do good without a drug, but eventually if you get addicted, you need that drug or you need to go to rehab to be able to come back to the team. So social problems. This is a third problem that I'm talking about. So most athletes that start with drugs are usually peer pressured and are advised that drug will help them stress to relieve their stress. So for example, if you were at a party and your entire team was at a party, and if you're the only person who's stressing out, and if your friends tell you, okay, hey, here you go, take a little beer, take a little sip of some alcohol, you'll relax. And eventually, if the person starts liking how they're usually relaxed, they usually drink even more alcohol more often, and obviously this turns into an addiction where that person will rely on alcohol to get their stress out of their mind. So another thing is with steroids, the public has a huge impact on athletes for taking drugs to fit in the image that he or she is the best in the sport to their body due to the body type. So like if I was to play soccer out and if I was like really like skinny or if I wasn't in the right shape, I would try to if I would be taking steroids so that I look more muscular, so that I would be looking more like Cristiano Ronaldo rather than a really skinny player. As you probably know, Cristiano Ronaldo he's a really muscular man, so he fits into a soccer player image a lot more than somebody who doesn't look into it. So so they try to get to the right size, a good weight, and can gain popularity and support amongst the public due to the way they look. Okay, so this is the biggest my main slide of the main slide of this presentation. So my 3 takes of preventing and controlling substance abuse in sports, I came up with these by myself. So the first one is to have a mindset where every athlete, to think of every athlete has the same goal. When I used to play competitive soccer, I used to think of every single person on my team as an equal, and you think that we all are trying to get to a professional level. So if if another person can do it too, I don't need to rely on drugs to get to a point where I I don't need to rely on drugs to get to a point where I need to succeed without drugs. Second, my point, be mindful of the purpose you're playing the sport. This actually helped me a lot during my soccer career where I was playing a lot of competitively every Saturday, every training, every Sundays, games on Sundays, games on Saturdays. I was I was getting tired of doing the same exact thing, but and having a lot of pressure on from the coaches. But then I dug deep inside and found the true meaning of why I'm actually still playing the sport. The purpose was could be either maybe you love it a lot, maybe you want to make it into a future career, or it's maybe because you were inspired by somebody that you want to be like them. So for me, my purpose was I wanted to be a professional soccer player, but unfortunately I was not able to do that. But again, I found my purpose of why I'm playing the sport. So I didn't need to rely on drugs to make myself feel like I need to be here or I need to relieve the stress because I knew my purpose. So the third biggest point is go back to the basics. I tell this a lot to other people when they come, especially my cousins, when they tell me that they don't know what they're doing, especially in this sport. I tell them, okay, go back to the basics. How did you start? Why did you start? Is it because you wanted to play? And how did you play? And what made you continue in the sport, especially the times when you don't want to go to the next practice or when you don't want to go to the training or don't want to go to a game? What made you continue in the sport? For me personally, when I was in the darkest times, soccer helped me a lot to keep going. And the reason why I continued in the sport is because I wanted to make something out of the sport. I don't want any drugs to, I don't want any drugs on the side that made me keep playing the sport. I just made it into this mentality where I needed to be there and I needed to be there to succeed. Thank you. And these are my works cited. This so I pretty much I got all the information from this this textbook, which is pretty much our main textbook for the class. And yeah, thank you.